Let's set the scene. You've spent a good chunk of the day playing a game you really enjoy. It's getting late and you're getting tired, so you head to bed. Now you're lying down with your eyes closed, but you're not asleep just yet. While you're in this state, you notice that you can still kind of see and hear the game you were just playing, despite not actively thinking about it. This series of events is something I've experienced a handful of times and have seen referenced online quite a few. Personally, I refer to this as phantom gaming. But when I was researching this topic, I learned that the official term for this is the Tetris Effect. This is because the first time this effect was reported was when Tetris players claimed to still be seeing blocks fall as they were falling asleep. Now, I'm not going to get into all the science and terminology, but the gist is that our brains react strongly to repetitive things. Because so many games have you doing the same thing over and over again, it engrades itself into your neural pathways. This then works its way into your subconscious. That is why, when you play a game for a long time and are going from conscious to unconscious, you may have figments of a game in your head. Now, with all the science out of the way, the rest of the video is going to focus on the experience of the Tetris effect. The first time I remember having this version of the effect happened to me when I was playing Doom Eternal. I was lying in bed, slowly drifting to sleep, when I realized I could still see figments of Doom. Now, it wasn't a completely clear chain of events, stuff was kind of just happening. I would see a glory kill of an imp, chain hooking an enemy, punching, or dashing. It didn't feel like I was controlling anything. It felt more like I was just watching gameplay. This then happened to me for the next couple nights, and I found it to be really cool. Now, this has only happened to me with a couple of other games, most of which are faster paced. I've had it with Deep Rock Galactic every now and then. I specifically remember Scout grappling to a wall. Most recently, this happened to me while I was playing Rollerdrome, which is a fast paced movement shooter. I don't know what it is about faster paced shooters that make them appear more frequently for me. Maybe it's because I really like those games, maybe it's because it can be quite repetitive and you need a lot of reflex speed, so it ingrains itself a bit deeper. Now, I know this is not the case for everyone, as I have seen this brought up a lot for Minecraft, which makes sense as it's easy to put a lot of hours into Minecraft and it can be incredibly repetitive. Another aspect of this version is also hearing things from games. Now, this happens to me even less frequently, and generally speaking, it will usually just be the music. I brought this up in my Astrobot review. When I went to bed the day it came out, I was actively hearing its music as I was falling asleep. I don't remember any other specific times this has happened, but I do think it has happened with Deep Rock as well. Now, this is something I've seen a lot more of online. Lastly, there was a time recently when I was twitching my fingers a little bit as if I was moving a joystick and pulling a trigger. Now, you might have noticed that I've been saying this version of the effect, and that is because the Tetris effect applies to more than falling asleep. However, this is the more common and main version. Now, we're going to discuss other types of this that are more in line with my term phantom gaming, or the other official term, game transfer phenomena. Game transfer phenomena specifically applies to the real world. This is when you either associate real things with some video game equivalent or have video game elements brought into the real world. A great example of this is when you hear something that sounds similar to a game and you make that connection. For me, there was this time I was on campus and there was an automatic door in the distance that made this screeching sound. The thing is, it sounded nearly identical to the Mactera grabber screech in Deep Rock Galactic. That freaked me out for half a second before I was like, this is real life, I'm not going to get grabbed. Other examples could be going to a museum and seeing a weapon you use in game, a logo, a sign, or a building that looks similar, or even saying a phrase from a game. These are all things that show that video games impact how you can view and interact with everyday life. The other form is experiencing video game elements in real life. This is a bit more where hearing audio cues from a game, even if there's nothing around, comes from. Once again, for me, it's mainly music. Online, I've seen it applied more broadly. One of the main things is seeing video game elements in real life. An example is seeing a health bar above someone's head. Now, that is not something I have experienced. The closest thing I have is hallucinating being on my phone at night, and there are a couple of examples of this. I'm not sure if these entirely count, but it is the closest thing. Now, dreaming is technically its own thing, but I want to bring it up as it is the most vivid form of imagination. Something I found interesting about dreaming about games is that it feels more like I'm in the game rather than playing it. Generally, this seems to be the most common way video games appear in a dream. However, there are definitely still times when I'm dreaming about playing a game. I personally have dreamt a lot about Death Stranding, as it's my favorite game. Generally, it's me delivering to new locations, traversing rivers and valleys. Before Death Stranding 2 came out, I dreamt about playing it. Something similar happened with Fallout 76, and most recently with Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core as I wait for it to come to console. The earliest I remember a dream like that happening was when I was playing Minecraft Pocket Edition and dreamt about being able to play the real game. I've dreamt about meeting some of my favorite characters like Max Caulfield from Life is Strange. I've had games mix and match. I've dreamt I played Deep Rock, but with the extraction of Helldivers too. Even games I don't particularly care for, like Siege, have made their way into my dreams. It makes sense. Video games are a huge part of my life. Of course, they're going to make their way into the manifestation of my subconscious. And finally, I would like to bring up daydreaming. This is when you are awake and thinking about playing a game. For example, being in school and thinking about a base in Minecraft. You think about the materials you need, what it's going to look like, and how you're going to build it. Maybe you and your friends got a new game and you're looking forward to playing it after work. You might not be seeing or hearing the game like in other examples, but you are still imagining yourself playing it. The reason I like to put all of these under my umbrella of phantom gaming is that they all involve some element of gaming to impact you while you are not actually playing a game. With the classic Tetris effect, you have visualizations. Game transfer phenomenon connects in-game elements to your everyday life, and with regular and daydreaming, you are playing these games in your head. This all goes to show how much of an impact gaming can have on us outside of the regular emotional or social aspects that are usually associated with it. And now, I would like to hear your experiences with this. Has the Tetris effect happened to you? Have you seen or heard video game elements in your day to day life? How do video games appear in your dreams? And with that, I would like to thank you for watching my video.